Whether you are ingrained in the Smash scene or have heard it in passing, there's a good chance you've seen one of their top players or community members talking about rankings. Whether it is large scale like the global rankings for Melee and Ultimate, or some internal politics on regional power rankings. The idea of ranking who are the best players in the game can be borderline obsessive. But why? If you look at most other esports or hell, sports in general, there might be conversations about the best players around, but not to either this extent or through numerous rankings with different methodologies. So how did we get here? How did we get to this point of obsession, and what purpose do these rankings really serve? Well, to answer these questions, we need to start with a look back, when the rankings were first made and where it all started.
That's it, Magnus Carlsen does it.
Where's that up smash 150? You can't live that!
Player rankings are not exactly unique to just Smash, of course. I mean, just look at any competitive mode in esport-focused titles. It is obviously a common thing. The idea of them, though, derives from other sports and competitive formats. If you're familiar with chess, you have probably seen a number attached to players to determine their skill level. This is based off the ELO rating system, used to calculate relative skill level between players. But Smash does not use that. You see, ELO was specifically designed for the format and game of chess, a game where the only player variance is who is playing black and who is playing white. All players have the same pieces and moves, all available to them at the start of a match. It determines who has the better odds of winning between two players in chess, and it does that well because these players have the same tools. Smash has character matchups, stages, and specifically for Ultimate, sometimes different rule sets between tournaments. There is too much variance to give you an accurate ranking with this method. But truthfully, ELO doesn't work because of Smash's double elimination bracket. Chess runs a Swiss tournament format where you have a set amount of matches you will be playing each tournament you enter. Double elimination is not set at all. You see, if two people placed 5th, one primarily through winners and one through losers, the player through losers would have played more matches due to how the bracket is structured. This is best explained by the article Making Sense of Melee, the Illusion of Objective Ranks and the Real Impact of Everything by Melee Stats legend and the Sinister. Double elimination inherently requires more matches played in losers. So not only do all the players have different numbers of matches, but even two players playing the same round of losers usually have played a different number of matches to reach that spot. Not only that, but every player will have the same number of set losses every tournament except for the single winner of the tournament. So imagine a local tournament featuring Mango. We may predict that he out to come out of this tournament with 5 wins and no losses. If he loses round 1 and plays 10 sets in losers to win the tournament, this is obviously a horrendous performance for Mango, but a wildly rewarded one using ELO. This is why ELO and subsets like Glico and True Skill don't really work for competitive Smash. Another popular sport that is similar in aspects to Smash is tennis. Professional men's tennis uses a point-based system based on placements on key events throughout the rolling period of the year. So any event outside of the 52-week period from today no longer counts. Now, there are two issues with this system in comparison to Smash. One, the importance of certain events tend to fluctuate in the Smash scene. Between important events ending like Shine, the best players not showing up like in the past, such as MomCon and CEO, or the game just straight up no longer being run at the event like EVO, Smash's big major events are not static every year. And two, as explained earlier, double elimination does not make every place equal. Placements alone don't really work in Smash due to things like bracket paths and even bracket luck with DQs and upsets. Sometimes you lose to 1st and 2nd for 9th, a hilariously common occurrence in these games. So, what did Smash's scenes do to actually make player rankings? In 2014, the very first competitive Smash rankings were released by platform Melee on Me, with Mango standing as the #1 ranked player in Melee. The ranking didn't use any algorithm like ELO or a point system, but a panel of prominent community members with the ranking requirement of needing to enter at least one tournament in the United States. SSBM rank has been a panel-based ranking ever since, but the first official algorithmic ranking was for Smash Wii U, with the Panda Global rankings released in 2016 created by esport team Panda Global. The first Orion rank came out in 2017, but we'll get on that later. While not much is known publicly about the specifics on how the algorithm worked, there's an archived methodology page detailing how placements and stat records were weighted, and the official rankings have essentially persisted to this day, with SSBM running independently, then going into the ownership of Panda for a while, but then after Panda dissolved, it running independent once more, and the PGR spiritual successor would go to Luminosity Gaming with LumiRank, and that is the current situation today. Okay, our brief history lesson is over, and now you have the context of how things started, but once again, what's with this obsession? And why do many give so much weight into these numbered lists while other sports and communities don't?
Hardman! Jackpot! Kansas City!
The SKT legacy has been reignited!
Is your seniors division world champion?
Get down! The pulse of Checkmate is just too good!
The gentlemen, $1 million is going to be awarded to Uma.
I believe the biggest reason comes down to how Smash as an esport is structured. Smash doesn't have some big finale event to determine the efforts of players during a season. In team sports, you have these big climactic events, such as a Super Bowl or some sort of championship game to determine the best team of the season. The storyline builds around those events, and tennis has large importance on the Grand Slam events, and a consistency to build the storylines around. Smash is a bit odder. Sure, there are historic big events such as Genesis and SmashCon that hold big weight to win, but winning these doesn't guarantee you best in the world. Well, for most Smash titles. There are a ton of events that end up contributing to one season, from the biggest majors to the decently sized regionals. But what about other 1v1 esports? Well, most of the others that are around Smash's size have either a circuit or big monumental event to wrap up their seasons. Street Fighter has had the same consistent big events for years. Winning a CEO, Combo Breaker, and most definitely EVO has a prestige due to these events' histories. But the big thing leading into most of the modern titles for Street Fighter was the Capcom Cup, where players had to qualify by winning or placing at certain events, and the winner of the most recent one got $1 million, an unheard of amount of money for the FGC. Pokemon's competitive scene has regionals and nationals, but it all builds up to the World Championship. And as you can see by this pattern, it all usually comes down to one thing: developer support. These scenes have developers who help evolve the storyline of their games by wrapping each competitive season with climactic finales. They don't need to care about rankings just like team sports because having their version of a Super Bowl ring is a claim in itself. Now, Smash had their chance in a similar structure, with a grassroots circuit like Smash World Tour and one partnering with Nintendo like Panda Cup, but ended up blowing it after some conflict between the head of the Smash World Tour VGBC, Panda, and of course, Nintendo. If at least one of these circuits continued, I doubt the ranking obsession would continue, especially as it wasn't as prominent in 2022, or at least from what I have seen in the general community at that time. Smash, well, mainly in Ultimate, uses their ranking to help drive their storylines. In 2023, Melee had the incredible rivalry for #1 in the world between Cody Schwab and Zayn that cultivated in this first to 10 title match to determine who is the best player in the world. In Ultimate, we saw storylines develop with a new #1 to be crowned for the first time after Leia's rule since release, and the top 4 establishing complete dominance over the field. The rankings help push these narratives, but they do so much more. They archive tournaments across the globe. They help give players platforms and exposure. They set season end dates and hype up events for people to look forward to. They bring weight to events and why they matter. They bring structure to a scene that has absolutely nothing else. No developer support, no leaders, no council making decisions, just a group of nerds playing a video game, making content about a video game, talking about a video game. The rankings have standed as one of the scene's backbones for years, and with the recent success of LumiRank and the gravitation that surrounded it after the PGR's end, shows that the scene still needs them because we have nothing else to give conclusion, a finality, or a way to close out and start storylines that keep the scene going and coming back for more. But during 2021, something happened. Well, particularly in Ultimate. The PGR may have been the main ranking, but tons of others started appearing with alternative algorithms or panels or timeframes. And players would give them attention, some getting close to the same level of recognition as the official one. How did this happen? How did this ranking obsession create such a bloated sphere of independent rankings, and why? Back in 2016, I started browsing Smash boards and started my character strat work, which many of you probably know me for the most. This was about 4 years after watching my first tournaments. There was one user at the time creating a full year player ranking, something I was interested in doing myself, as the PGR was biannual. They went by Das Koopa, or would be more commonly known as Bernard's Loop. I reached out to him with such a cringy message. Hey yo, if you send me the list of your player rankings, I can make some sweet Photoshop graphics for it, kind of like a PG rankings graphic. And those first graphics were so horrid. I had zero clue what I was doing at the time, and it's a miracle Loop kept me around. But together, Orion Rank was formed. It was a small independent ranking that had slow growth over the Smash Wii U days. But once Ultimate released, the ranking's outreach exploded in size, as the scene did as well. And by post-pandemic, would be the largest recognized algorithmic ranking in the community, mainly due to Panda's first shift to panel ranking and later demise. The success of Orion Rank and the gap of PGR ending definitely helped create a weird overinflated pool of rankings of various methodologies, where people attach to whatever ranked them the highest. Competitors like the recognition, and since the inception of Smash rankings, this obsession would even sprinkle into local scenes with power rankings, which definitely had some weird politics occurring in some scenes, with a hilarious example of MDVA's Melee PR. Every scene had a ranking locally, and if you look around, you'll realize that Smash is the only scene that really does this. Other FGCs don't have official rankings. Why would they even have regional ones? And now Ultimate sits under Lumirank, which is essentially a spiritual successor of the PGR, but really more Orion rank due to methodological reasons, but very different algorithm. I have been working on player rankings for almost 9 years now, and I have seen this obsession from the Five Gods era of Melee to the current scenario in Ultimate, and out of all these years, there is one quote from the head of PG Stats, Jackie Peanuts, that has summed up my time shifting from Orion rank to Lumirank, and my feelings in the past year. It was a retweet of Melee's current best player Cody Schwab, saying fuck the rankings, and he said to regards to the rankings, without question the most stressful and least rewarding thing I worked on at Panda. And sadly, out of all of my stats projects that I've ever worked on, it kinda rings true. When Orion Rank started, it was a passion project to fulfill a niche of a full year ranking, and give recognition to the insane amount of talent across the globe that wasn't highlighted by top 50s of the PGR. But with Lumirank, there is more in hand. Sponsorships, storylines, archiving, event advertising, content, hell, even sometimes rule setting. A lot more than what the original passion project entailed. And don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about the added responsibility, but it's just different. There's more weight in my actions, and it's something I need to be more acutely aware of whenever I say or do something representing the team. And on the top of all this, people on this team have jobs. This isn't paying the bills. The greedy ranking people aren't stealing all the money in the scene. This isn't a full-time job, but the amount of effort that goes into it makes it feel like one some days. The anxiety that can come when we get a notification about something we have to handle in a short turnaround and stop our entire day to do so. The amount of criticism we receive each week, and by the way, we see kind of all of it. And look, I get it. Every scene wants to feel like they are represented correctly and that all their players feel underrated and are some of the best in the business. But maybe slow down and remember that the people working on the rankings are, well, people with lives and responsibilities outside of Smash. I still do this because I'm passionate about the scene and believe the rankings have merit to exist and benefit the game. I'm sure the other people on the various ranking teams feel the same way and why they do this. Even if it pains me some days, I love what I do. And I love that people give meaning and merit to it and look at this stuff and talk about it and thank you. And thank you for supporting these projects that we pour our effort into for sometimes literally nothing. I don't really know how to end this. Maybe I just made this video to voice 9 years of pent-up frustrations in doing this, or maybe because I felt like I had something to say about ranking culture in Smash. I don't know. But if there are messages I want you to get out of this video, it's probably these two things. 1, a number doesn't define you as a player. Not your ranking, your bad placement at a tournament, your character ranking on shoe stats, any of it. Your journey throughout this community is what you make of it, not what others try to define it as. It's okay to put less merit in those numbers, and it is okay to disagree with a ranking, because at the end of the day, just like I pointed out for most of this video, there is no perfect objective way to produce one for double elimination brackets. What Lumirank values may not 100% align with what you value, and that is okay. But also, we have been doing this for a long time. As I mentioned, for me, 9 years. We know what we're doing, we know what's worked in the past to get you the best accurate rankings, and we've gone through tons of trial and error in making the algorithm what it is today. We know what we're doing and we have the experience to do it. And we're transparent about everything we do because we still value feedback and we still value the opinion of the people that this affects. Which leads me to number 2. If you are a player or figurehead affected by the ranking in the scene and want to express concerns, feel free to just talk to us. I'm not some sort of cold-hearted statistician who views players as just numbers. It's fine to post your criticism or make videos about the ranking or whatever format you wish to use. I'm not saying don't. But if you want to see actual change, it is a two-way street. I'm coming up on a decade of working on Smash rankings, and frankly, I don't know how much longer I will keep helping produce them. Honestly, if the circus kept going and Panda was still around, I don't even think Orion Rank would have existed past 2022. The videos we produced for the ranking on this channel burnt the hell out of Loop and I, but we stepped up to the plate to keep the rankings going, along with adding more members to the team, to eventually form Alt Rank, now Lumirank. And even after everything I've said, I still love what I do. And I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity to be now part of the official ranking, especially after working on what was essentially second string for years, even if the circumstances of how I got here is more unfortunate than anything. So thank you. Whether you are brand new to this channel or have been following my work for years, I deeply appreciate those who have liked, shared, and talked about the work that I have done. So it definitely feels a bit weird to end such a personal video on this, but after some deliberation, I've decided to start up a Patreon. If you want to support me and what I do directly, please consider contributing. I've added a few tiers as low as $1 a month. Obviously, I know right now finances are tough for a lot of people, but I like to be able to expand what I do and definitely need some help to get there. I plan on uploading all my stat sheets here for patrons to access and would like to use any money raised either put back into the scene or my channel. Whether that is hiring writers for topics I want to cover but think would do a way better job than me, or ways to further enhance the content I'm capable of producing, to hopefully eventually being able to even fly out players to events or host an event of my own. So please consider pledging. And also subscribing. If you've made it to the end of this video and listened to me talk about all this stuff and you still haven't subscribed, I'm very confused on why you haven't yet. So please consider doing so. And I'll catch you all next time. Take care of yourselves.